Hello YouTube, and welcome to episode 4 of Excalibur Myth Busting. And this one will be a fun one because this is just an kind of unnecessary, but if you run into a build configuration that this becomes a potential option, then it is worth it. So what is the myth here? And the myth is, for an influence build, that you need Chromatic Blade to make it work, which is simply untrue. And what we'll use here as a demonstration is, here's a pretty mid-tier influence build with Chromatic Blade. So what we'll do is just show this real quick. And notice this is a Bright Bonnet, not using Warrior's Rest. I do have an increase in starting energy. I don't have 2 energy effectiveness or Archon Shards because this doesn't use Blind Rage, so there's no negative efficiency. It balances out pretty well. And notice here I'm also running Nairman. What I'm running for healing in this scenario is that one Equilibrium Shard, but then also Hunter Recovery. So the Micro Shield gating that you get from Brief Respite and triple Umbral with Hunter Recovery is what we're going to be using to survive here. I don't have any modded on attack speed. I just have Arcane Strike because this is nice and simple. This is a non-conditional build with just Bright Bonnet using for snapshotting into Exalted Blade. As usual, we'll just go into Titan and we'll show Chromatic Blade real quick and then we'll remove it.
These are worthy foes. Underestimate them at your peril.
Well, we won't be getting that puppy because probably not going to stay in this mission. Alright. So the thing to note is obviously we get 100% crit chance or 100% status chance on electric for this. So then every attack, regardless of our combo, will have the ability to do that. The ability to apply electric. Is that actually necessary or absolutely necessary for it to work? No. If you do the math on the build that I showed you, without running Chromatic Blade, you get over 100% status chance, and then that comes out to approximately 60-some% on electric based on the weighing, the overall weighing, since it's like it's still a majority electric with the triple electric mods. And we will show that. So I'd say that's a decent enough demonstration of this. Notice I'm still with Nairman, I'm still proccing the double combo, using a little bit of shields to not take health damage all the time, and then my companions just my health popped up. So I haven't even used for this something like Furious Javelin yet, because it's not absolutely necessary at this tier of content, but you can use it if you want. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to abort this one. We're going to remove Chromatic Blade, so then there won't be any functional changes to the build, just one less mod. And then we'll demonstrate that and how that functions. So it's just a recap. We're going to just remove that. Here's the Exalted Blade build. If you look at the weighing for this and do the math for it, it comes out to, I might as well just calculate it here so I'm not making up numbers that I calculated out yesterday. You just divide the electric by the total, which then comes out to 68% approximately. And then when you calculate out, so if it's 68% of that, you calculate out the overall status chance, which in this case is 60 plus 120 plus 440 at full combo. Multiply that by the decimal form 0.15, add 0.15, so 108% total status chance. Multiply that by our 0.68, or we'll even make it a little bit tighter. 0.677 is what it approximately came out to, which is going to be 63%. So 63% of the time, your attacks will proc an electric status effect. Is that good enough? I think so, especially for the fact that you're attacking twice every time if you're in melee distance. The probability of one wave proccing Affliction at a 73% chance is pretty high. Okay, so just in case, there it is. So no Chromatic Blade. And we're gonna go on the same exact mission. Now, this will be more dependent on combo, obviously, because you want to be able to get up to 12 by 220 to proc Weeping Wounds. You might wonder why I have Weeping Wounds on a build that has Chromatic Blade. The reason being is because Chromatic Blade doesn't apply to the heavy attack. And so if you want reliable electric from the heavy attack on a build like this, Weeping Wounds is still viable for that.
I'm sending life support capsules your way.
One thing we'll do here is get our double combo, make this a little bit faster. In this scenario, Bright Bonnet is really just a more useful form of empowerment. You know, like, you don't have to cast it every single time. Gives you some energy. Do I need that extra energy orb shard in this specific scenario? Probably not. I didn't really see the use in removing all of our Archon shards to be able to redo it, but you could add more strength that way, or just probably just more strength. Maybe one of the electric ability damage ones. A good variety of that. I wouldn't stack just nothing but crit damage or nothing but strength. Probably use a little variety. But I think this demonstrates that Chromatic Blade is not required for Affliction to function at a pretty good degree. You do a little bit of math on the status chance, it really doesn't matter that much. I haven't even used Fierce Javelin. This sort of configuration is also a lot more neutral to if you're not pulling out Exalted Blade and you're just using Slash Dash. Just because Chromatic doesn't apply to it, but is it really worth not using Chromatic Blade in a setup like this if you have the mod slot for it? In this exact scenario where, I guess, what's the trade-off here? Reduce base damage for Blind Rage or just running Chromatic Blade? That's kind of where it comes down to. Might be worth using Blind Rage in that scenario over it, because it doesn't affect it as much as you would expect. When you actually start going in and testing it, it's not as impactful as I think most people would assume. So I think that's a sufficient demonstration of it. I don't think there's really much more to discuss on that topic. So if it's one of those opinions that you had before, because I will say I've been not necessarily believing it's absolutely required, but it's one of those where obviously it's advantageous because it kind of just makes sense to use it on an Afflictions build. But if you have had that opinion, I recommend trying it yourself. You can run the exact test that I'm running, or you can replace it with another mod so that you're not just running without a mod, and see if it is more beneficial, or if you feel like it's just as good or a little bit more flexible, especially if you're running triple umbral mods that can get a little tight. Yeah, thanks for watching.